reset the clock. What do I mean by resetting the clock? Okay, a change of daylight hours can affect your health and mood. We know that. Okay, we lose an hour, all of a sudden it's darker, earlier. It messes with our internal clock. Okay, so this is about resetting your clock. You taking charge of your clock and your energy patterns during the day. Okay, so less daylight can disrupt melatonin levels. Okay, now melatonin levels is it. Melatonin, if you trigger your melatonin gland, it normally helps you sleep. Okay, so a lot of sleep therapy is designed to trigger melatonin in the system. So you know you got these apps and things that you can watch and listen to, and it's supposed to trigger melatonin. Now, less daylight also triggers melatonin. It tells us to sleep more. Okay, now if you do need to sleep more, then sleep more. That's fine. But often we kind of now need to, if you don't need to sleep more, but the melatonin levels have gone high because of the winter and the change of clock, we almost need to reset the clock. We also we need to tell our brains not to trigger that melatonin gland until we need it later on in the evening. This is why it's never very good to watch loads of TV before you go to bed, for argument's sake. Maybe you're lying in bed, you're watching TV, you turn TV off and you try to go to sleep, and then you can't go to sleep, and the reason for that is that your eyes have just been active watching a false light, okay, so your melatonin gland hasn't triggered to make you go to sleep, basically. But we can use this the other way around as well. So if our melatonin gland is triggering too early and making us feel sleepy, then we need to reset the clock. So how do we do that? We need to trick the brain. You know, for anybody that knows me, I will always tell you that your brain is the most powerful machine on the planet, but it will only do what you tell it to do. Okay, so if you tell it to do one thing, it will generally follow your instruction. And sometimes we just need to trick it or tell it the opposite thing, so that melatonin level isn't being triggered and making us feel sleepy on the back of it. Okay, so what's useful for this? There's something out there now called light therapy. I don't know if anybody's come across this before. It'd be really interesting to know if there's anybody on the call, people that use this or know somebody that use it. But basically, light therapy has been proven as effective as medication, according to a Harvard Uni report. Okay, so what light therapy is kind of, you can buy light therapy boxes. They're about £30 off Amazon, and it's actually a dose of sunlight. So it gives you a false dose of sunlight, but it's not like a TV. It's designed to actually mimic sunlight, and you can set it. So in the morning, if you wake up and it's dark, you can set it so the light gradually goes from dull to bright, and it kind of wakes you up, okay? And people that have been doing light boxes for 30 minutes a day tend to have more energy. That's what the report is saying, and it tends to actually, it turns off the melatonin gland, and it wakes you up, basically. So I'm not suggesting you all run out and buy a light box, but what I am suggesting is this is really quite useful. I'm sure you can get apps and things like that. They're probably not as effective as actually buying a light box, but I'm sure you can. The key thing is we need to trick that melatonin level, because we don't want it during the day. We don't want it kicking in. Just because the dark nights are getting earlier, potentially in our society, we don't want to go to sleep at 5 o'clock in the evening, do we? We want to go to sleep at 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever you want to go to sleep at. So that light box therapy, it's becoming more common. If you type in light box in Amazon, there's hundreds of them. Okay, it's becoming more common. And I'm not saying you've got to take 30 minutes out of your day. It just needs to be somewhere near you when you do that. Now, check out apps. You know, if you've got light boxes, then fine, no problem. But it does trick that melatonin, okay? There are other ways to trick melatonin. The best way, without a light box, is what you're saying to yourself, your self-talk, which we'll come on to right at the end, okay? But just bear that in mind. We need to reset that clock, okay? How can we reset it? Well, you could use things like light therapy, or we can reset it by triggers and what we say to ourselves, which is what we're going to finish off with in a moment. So let's reset that clock.